Hey guys, it's Chris from the Ultimate Recycler. Welcome back to the channel, and welcome if you're new here for episode 4 of the Monday Marathon dealing with e-waste. So just to recap really quickly, once a week I pick up e-waste from a local charity shop because they don't want to deal with it and I like to save as much as I can. It's pretty as simple as that. They're happy for me to pick it up. Anything electrical, e-waste, if you're not sure, is anything that runs off power or even batteries. So there's all sorts of things come into play: electronics, computers, mobile phones, appliances, tools, all sorts of stuff. I get a lot of lamps. There's a few weird lamps in this one. I get some vintage stuff, including this Hanimex projector. I think it's a projector. Color slide projector. So we do get some cool stuff that we can sell. Sometimes I need to test it or repair it. Other times it's not worth it and I'll just scrap it out. I do get a lot of kitchen appliances, and some of those are quite valuable ones. Remember, this stuff is donated to a charity shop, so you would expect it all to be in good condition. Not always the case, as we mentioned in a couple of the previous episodes, and people have agreed in the comments too. A lot of folk use a charity shop as a dumping ground to save taking stuff to the local tip or transfer station, which is a real shame. But at least I can scrap stuff if it's dirty. I can still get some value, and more importantly, save stuff and keep it in circulation if it's still usable. I have, if you're new here, I have a second-hand shop, and I have a test and tag license, so I'm able to deal with the electrics. I can sell it comfortably. I keep the prices very cheap so that I can at least cover some of my time, and people get a bargain, and that way it sells quick. So along those lines, also we will go through what we sold in the last week and what's left over from the week before. I have a little bit of system forming. It's my system sort of develop as I go along. I've decided that whatever I price things at, I will give it 2 weeks in the shop. When I say 2 weeks, that's only 6 trading days. We only work Friday, Saturday, Sunday in the shop. So I'll give it 2 weeks at the price I nominate, which I think is fairly cheap anyway. Whatever's left then will become half price. So if something was at $10, it'll be then $5 for a further 2 weeks. If it still doesn't sell, some things I might drop down, or maybe put in the free pile, or might just scrap out. But last resort is taking it back to the transfer station as e-waste. I want to try and get some value, and I'd rather give it away to someone that can use it than send it to waste. So that's my plan. I also like to try and buy something from the charity shop every week and see if I can flip it and make a few dollars. I have never failed to find something, although I have to admit this particular week was a little tricky. The only thing I got was this blue bottle. It looks pretty cool. I don't think it's worth a lot, but I'm hoping I can still at least make something out of it. So we'll get to that at the end of the video, as we'll look at our lists from previous weeks. Enough of this to do. Let's work out what we've got this week and see what we can do with it. Okay, there's quite a pile on the bench. We do have a kitchen. Is that a slow cooker? And it looks like a rice cooker in the box. That looks like it might be near new. This one looks pretty good. It's a Murphy Richards. I think it's a pretty modern brand, but I think it's always also fairly expensive, so we'll check that one out. We may well be able to sell that. I have a paper shredder here, which are rather difficult to sell, but this one looks like quite a good one, so we'll give it a test, see if it actually shreds anything. We hopefully could at least get $5 for that, so we'll test that out. I'm not sure what... Oh, that's off a printer. There is a printer here as well. There's another food processor. This one's much more modern than the one we had the other week. This is a Revel. Quite a heavy unit, so we should be able to sell that if it tests out okay. It does appear though to be missing the plunger thing that goes in the top, unfortunately, and often when things get donated to the charity shop and then sorted around by the volunteers and then end up in my pile, sometimes things get lost and missing, so that's a shame. I have a couple of large lamps here. These are like cane lamps, and they have a big long top on them. It's like dried grass. So nice effect if you have the cane sort of look. Lamps are pretty easy to fix and get going. They look all right, other than the little grass bits looking a bit hairy. Perhaps we'll give them a haircut. There's a large floor lamp here. In fact, it's touching the roof as I lift it. I'll probably just use that for parts. I'll show you that shortly. We've got to look at the slide projector, and there's a printer we'll test just to see if we can get any copies out of it. I don't try and sell second-hand printers. I just can't. I can barely give them away. In fact, I can't. I've tried. But if it still has some ink in it, we might be able to get a few copies for our own office supplies. All right, I'll move some of the stuff off the bench so that we can test some things, and we'll work our way through this pile. Okay, let's check out this slow cooker. I think it's a slow cooker. So it's a Morphy Richards, fairly current model, and I just did a quick check, and I think they're around about $100 new. So this one looks pretty good. The coating's all good on the thing. In fact, I don't think it's hardly ever done any work. Nice and clean in there. So it's very presentable as far as selling it goes. It's nice and clean. The cord looks fine. So as long as it works and tests okay on the appliance tester, that should be a nice quick sale. And you know, I reckon we could probably try $20 for that, given that they're about 100 new. And it doesn't even need, oh, maybe I'll just wash the lid. It really doesn't need much as far as a cleanup. So let's put that on the appliance tester straight up. It is always nice when we get nice clean stuff that I don't have to spend much time on. So I've turned it on. The light is on. Let's put it to high. And it should be warming up. We do actually have to check to see if we have an earth. I probably should have done that first. Yes. So the appliance tester likes it. Is it warming up? I think they have a, yeah, they have a heating band around the outside rather than element underneath. That's warming up nicely. So I think I'll probably leave that on just to make sure the thermostat clicks in and out. So we'll just go to low, and I'll just keep an eye on it to make sure the thermostat's working. But that's a really good piece, easy to clean, couple of minutes, and it's going to look like new. And we're going to try $20 on that. So we'll put a safety tag on it, and that's one of the items I get out of these deals that makes it worthwhile for me. I can make up a bit of time that I spend on something that's not worth so much. So I'll leave that tick over while we open the box here. And the box said it's a 10-cup rice cooker. And it looks like it's it has been unpacked, but it certainly looks in really good condition. Oh, the lid's a bit grotty. That's supposed to fit there. I don't know why. Oh, that's okay. So that part's nice and clean. That looks new. The lid just needs a little bit of a clean. It's got the little rice spatula tool. Let's see what the rest of it's like. We have the cord in a bag. The aluminium bowl looks absolutely spotless, so that's good. And in fact, the base looks as new. So I would expect that this one, let's get the box out of the road, it's getting in our field of vision. So that's a very nice rice cooker. What was it? A 10-cup. In its original box. Again, exactly the same as what we're doing with the slow cooker. I'll just plug it into the appliance tester once I've finished with the slow cooker heating up. And it presents as new. That's absolutely fantastic. The only sign that it has been used is just a little bit grimy on the lid, so I will clean that up. I might even put both these lids in a dishwasher next time I do a run, and that will mean we'll have pretty much an item that would suit a new buyer. I'll have to check out what these ones are worth. I didn't check these. Homemaker, so it's only a budget brand, like a Kmart brand, but I would imagine they're still going to be $50 odd. So again, it's probably something I can try $20 on. We'll test that shortly, and then we can pack these two up after we give them a clean, and they can head off to the shop. Okay, let's plug the rice cooker in and make sure it operates safely. So we'll get our earth out, turn it on, and yes, we have a good earth. There's a light on. Oh no, we've got to turn it on here. Oh, it's on keep warm. Oh, I think you've got to have the thingo in here for it to work. There we go, that worked. So I've turned it on. It should be getting warm. It'll take a while to come through the aluminium. Oh yes, I can just feel it around the edges. And that looks good on the tester. So that's pretty much as a brand new unit. So we'll just clean the lid up, and we'll probably put it back in the box, or at least have the box with it. And I think we'll try, I did look them up there. You can buy these basic ones for around about the $50 mark. I reckon we'll get 20 for it because it looks absolutely brand new with the box. So that'll be our first start. Remember, after 2 weeks, if it hasn't sold at 20, it'll be down to 10. If any of you guys are local and you want to grab something at half price, you've got to take a punt that it's still going to be there. All right, so that's good. Let's get these two off the bench. I'll take these lids inside and run them through our dishwasher just to save me a bit of cleaning. They should come up nice and clean. And we'll get on to the... Oh, let's test out the paper shredder next.
Hello. I've come for a trade-in.
A trade... Oh, do you want to buy this? All right, 20 bucks, thanks.
How about I love you instead?
And a trade-in. Okay, well, it looks like we don't get our 20.
Good luck getting 10 for that one.
We'll see how we go. You have to get rid of the box.
No, that's your job.
Okay, I don't even get rid of the box. No 20 bucks. Got to deal with the rubbish and a trade-in.
So was this brand new in the box?
No, but almost.
Oh,
yeah.
Cool. Thanks.
The lid needs a wash. You have to do that.
No, that's your job.
Put it in the... I was going to put it in the dishwasher.
Thanks. See ya.
Okay. Not even safe in my own shed. Okay, so that is one of the perks of doing what I do, in that Christine gets to pick whatever appliances come along, and I sometimes get some handy tools or other things for the workshop that are better than what I own. So Christine's upgraded here with her rice cooker. She's gone for that 10 cup one, and this is only a small one that she's been using for a while. It is quite stained in the aluminium bowl there, and it's chipped the finish around quite a bit. It does look to have a bit of a scorch mark underneath there, so whilst it probably still works fine, and well, I think she was using it recently, and it would be safe. I don't think I can sell it. I think it's just too old and tired to be sold. I could certainly put it on the appliance tester and just make sure it's safe, and then I could offer it for free at the shop if anyone's interested. I'm not going to write out a tag for it. It all takes time, and if I'm getting no return, I'm not going to do that. But at least I could test it, see if it's safe. The other option is we could scrap it. I might keep the lid, because sometimes I do need lids for these things. They get broken. That whole pot can go straight in the aluminium, so we'll get some return on that. The element section is quite solid cast aluminium with a heating element underneath. That can go in the irony aluminium. The rest of the body is all steel, so that can all go for scrap metal. And of course we get some return on the cord. So there's very little rubbish if we do scrap it out, and we do get a bit of return. So maybe we'll do that at the end of this video. We'll just pull this apart and see how much scrap we actually get. But I don't think I can sell this one, so it looks like I'm down 20 bucks on this deal. Right, where were we? We were going to test out this paper shredder. So it's a Pendo brand. It's quite heavy. I think it's a decent quality one, or at least reasonable. 6 sheets of paper shredder. There's no real scrap value in these. They do have some electric motors, and the blade assembly, which is quite sharp, can go in the heavy steel, but there's a lot of plastic. There's only one cord, and then of course you have the little bin thing as well to get rid of. So if it works okay, I'd rather sell it, but we'll probably only get $5 for it. I just haven't had much success selling paper shredders, but they do sell if they're at $5. So we'll test it out, and if it works okay and it's safe, we'll try and get our $5. Let's plug it in the appliance tester, and I'll need to find some paper. Here we go, some printer paper. I'll just put the one through, see if it works all right. Okay, that took a while to stop. Looks like it shreds fine. Stop, reverse, that works. It seems to go for quite a while until the sensor recognises that there's nothing there. So that works okay. Being a 6 sheet one, it would probably do cardboard, which is handy if you've got a compost bin or a worm farm. You can shred your cardboard. And it's a cross shredder too. It doesn't just leave long strips, it actually cuts it crossways as well. And that could go in the compost as well. So it works fine. I'm just going to wipe it over a little bit so it looks a bit neater, and we'll put $5 on that. It passes the tests. It's double insulated, so we don't need to try find an earth on it because it's all plastic anyway. So that should sell okay at $5. So let's move on to this Breville. It's a kitchen blender, not a blender, a food processor. I did check out the model. It is a model BFP 650, which is an older model. I think it's a discontinued model, but the new ones look pretty much the same. And it's 1,000 watt, and it's quite heavy. It looks pretty good. It's a little grubby on the base, but it looks pretty good. The plastics are all fine. It is missing the top plunger, and when I checked online, there's quite a lot of different fittings like discs, cutting discs and things that this one didn't have with it. So we are missing bits of it. In fact, I forgot to put this bit in. That's the drive bit. So I don't think it's worth, like they were fairly expensive, and the new ones are quite expensive. And I even saw someone selling this model trying to get $175 for it, but it was with all the extra bits and everything. I don't want to try and sell it online because it's so heavy. It would cost a lot for postage. I don't think I would get that much for it because it is missing bits. But on the other hand, I'm not going to pull it apart just for an electric motor worth probably $1.50. So let's plug it into the appliance tester and just see if it works okay. And we could try and sell it at the shop with a little bit of a cleanup. And I'm sure someone may even have one that they need a new bowl for, or they might have leftover bits from theirs that blew up. So we're probably going to try about $20. Again, if it works okay, and if it doesn't sell, we'll drop it to 10 the following, or a couple of weeks afterwards. Now on, there we go, that seems to work fine. Off, and this is a pulse. It tests fine on the appliance tester. It's double insulated again, there's no earth. That is metal, but it's only decorative, and we don't have an earth wire anyway, so that's pretty good. I reckon we'll try and get our $20 for that. It looks good. It was an expensive model, and it still would have some good use if someone wanted to use it as a processor. Maybe you could find something to fit in there as a plunger. And as I said, someone might have the other parts for it at home anyway. So we'll try $20 on that and see how we go at the shop. I will put a tag on it to show that it's safe. Next thing to try is this printer. And really, I just want to see if it works, if it has ink left in it. We don't need the USB cord. It's still plugged in. And I have plenty of these printer cords, so we'll just chop the plugs off that for some data cable. Okay, we'll plug it in. They're a fairly common printer. This one's a bit dirty, but we really just want to see if there's ink in it. I presume you can still buy cartridges for it, but it's just not worth it, because even with new cartridges in here, we're going to struggle to sell it for next to, well, probably even wouldn't get back our price for our new cartridges, I'd imagine. Now the lights are on for the ink, so I suspect it's run out of ink. We'll just try and copy the front of this exercise book. And I have one sheet of paper here because we shredded the other one. And start. Okay, well, it seems the lights were correct. There's no ink left, so that's okay. We're just going to send this one to the transfer station. They're not worth mucking around with. I will keep the cord. Next thing is this Hanimex 35mm slide projector, and it is what the box says it is. So that's pretty cool. This will certainly sell, assuming it works. Looks in good condition. Probably a 1970s era one. Even the brochure with it certainly looks 70s. To give us any hint, not really, but it's nothing else in the box, but it's nice to have the original box with it. Now these usually have a fan, and we need to make sure the globe works. I don't have any slides to show. It's just a straight drop your slide in. Oh, there's a slide here. No, it says keep this card. So reverse side. Oh, it's for adjustments. So I think you put your slides in the top and it pushes them across, and then the next slide pushes them further out. Yeah, okay. So there's no cartridge or carousel or anything for them. Very simple operation. It's a shame I don't have a slide, but we'll see if the light works and we'll make sure it's safe. Now it is metal. Oh, the light works, that's great. Let's see if we've got an earth. Okay, we have an earth, that's safe. The fan goes, I can hear it going, the light goes well. And we don't have any coming out the lens. Oh, that's a foot adjustment. Maybe it doesn't actually show light until you've... Oh, there we go. Alright, so let me dazzle the camera. You got that? Righto, it works beautifully. So that's in excellent working condition. We're going to get probably at least $20 for this, so I might even go a little bit higher. I'll check online, but it's in immaculate condition. Good working order. It tests safe. I can put a tag on it. Doesn't actually have an on-off switch, does it? Just turns on at the power. Really clean. Even the fan sounds new. Alright, but there's no switch on here. It obviously just turns off at the power. Very nice. We'll check a price on that, but that one's probably the pick of what we've got here today. Really pleased to get that. Okay, let's finish up with our lamps. This one, as you can see, is just a plain, it's sort of a copper finish, but it's only a steel pipe. And right down to a base that's actually got a bit of corrosion on it. It's a fairly heavy base, but I don't think it's metal. I think it's got, yeah, it's a plastic type thing that's probably full of sand or something. So no scrap value in there, hardly at all. And the top, as you can see, doesn't have a shade. So I don't think it's worth trying to sell, particularly because of the corrosion it's got around the base. It's quite grubby. I'll get you a better look at that. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm only going to take some parts. And the only parts I'm going to take really are the cord. But I will pull the cord out from in the tube because it will give me plenty of length. And it has got one of these floor switches. Now these are, they do break, and this one's in good condition. I've actually had a customer bring one in for repair where I had a spare one of these and hers was all broken. And in fact, the cord on hers, the dog had chewed, so I replaced the cord and the switch. I charged her $20. She was absolutely rapt because it was cheaper than a new lamp. And I got some use out of some stuff that I kept because it might be handy one day, and it was indeed. So this one I'm just going to pull apart, salvage the cord with that switch on it, and the rest of it can probably just go to the scrap steel pile. It doesn't have to go to e-waste because it's all steel. So that's easy on that one. And these cane lamps are kind of cool with their long hair. I reckon these will sell fine. They are in pretty reasonable condition, sort of like a fabric with a cane. They're not overly dirty, and they've got a basic, really basic electrical system with just a lamp holder in the bottom and the wire coming out with a switch in the wire. So as long as they work fine and test okay, we'll be able to sell these straight away. They still actually have globes in them, and this one has an LED globe, so that's all right. I'll check what the other one's got and we'll test them out, and we might just give them a bit of a haircut as I mentioned. But these are an easy fix or a check over and quite easy to sell. Time to plug these beauties in and let's see if they light up. Switch, there we go. Looks pretty cool actually. And we'll swap the power plugs and try that one, and that one works beautifully too. So I reckon someone will really like those. They give they're going to give a nice ambience to a room, particularly if you've got a bit of a cane theme happening. They're quite modern. Within the last 20 years, mate, they could be 10 to 15 years old, and we'll just neaten up the tops. If I lean them both forward, you can see they're a little bit raggedy on the top, and one's a little bit higher than the other, so we'll just trim them back so they look neat. But yes, they'll be fairly easy sale. I'm probably just going to go $20 the pair, $10 each. I'm very, very similar with all my pricing on this because I just like it to turn over quick. And, you know, $10 is next to nothing these days. Barely buys you, or wouldn't buy you 2 coffees in most places in the world. So $10 each, I think someone would probably buy the pair, maybe even as bedside lamps. Excellent. So now, before we get to the notepad and look at the item we're going to flip, let's just quickly scrap this out. So straight away, that's an aluminium bowl, can go straight in our domestic aluminium bin. And normally when I'm scrapping these, that's probably all I'd do. I would chop the cord off, and the rest of this can just either go in the scrap metal or go out to the e-waste crates. But let's pull it apart, just because I've called this a marathon. We can't have a quick video for a marathon, can we? So we'll take the base off. Really easy to get into, and that can just go in our pressing steel. I'd normally do save the screws if they fall out. We have a little bit of wire. It's actually been quite hot in here. You can see it's been a bit charred underneath there. It's not dangerous, but it's been quite hot. So we just have a little bit of wiring. We have some connections. I'm not going to undo the connections. We'll just snip the wire out. All this wire can go in our insulated wire bin, and it does add up. So let's just do a bit of quick pruning. Oh, that's actually, well, interesting. That's probably a nichrome wire, like a heating element wire. And the insulation in this case was actually, it's like a heat-proof shielding. And I do sometimes keep this because it's handy to slip over wires that you want to protect from being in hot situations. So we'll hang on to that. So no value for wires there. What do we got? We've also got in this section, let's undo that screw. Actually, let's snip the cord off because we're going to take the cord. Need to take the plug off it. But that gives us some saleable insulated wire. So we can probably undo this screw, which goes to the heating element. In fact, we'll take these other screws out while we're here, because we want that cast aluminium block with the heating element in it. Although normally I probably wouldn't bother. Okay, that's free. I'll just snip those wires. And we have a little connector here that can probably just snip off actually. It's got it. So this whole heating element is fairly heavy, and you can see it's all, the elements enclosed in the cast aluminium, so you're not going to get clean cast aluminium out of this. So there's no point pulling the little extras off. The whole lot can just go in irony aluminium, and it does weigh a fair bit. So given that that was pretty easy to get out, maybe it's probably worthwhile doing. It doesn't leave us with very much at all, but in this section under this sleeve, and we will keep that too, we have our thermal fuse. And I do keep those because I've replaced them on jobs before. Let's snip that out. And they're all rated for different temperatures. And I know this one's good because Christine was using this rice cooker, and that's got good lengths of wire on it. So we'll keep that thermal fuse for possibly a repair job down the track. A little bit more wire we can pinch. And you know what, I'd probably leave the rest, and that's pretty well all steel. Got a couple of plastic handles and the little front switch. But you can see how that was charred underneath. As I said, it wasn't dangerous, but it's certainly been very hot through those screws. So this can actually go in our pressing steel bin. It doesn't need to go to e-waste. It could equally go into e-waste as well. Either or, hopefully it gets recycled. Now this is a little thermostat. We don't really want that. There's no scrap value there. Maybe that could go in the irony aluminium actually. It probably is mostly aluminium. So I'm not going to weigh anything up here because we're only talking a matter of cents, but it doesn't take long to scrap, so maybe you might like to pull these apart. I said I'd keep the lid because I'll possibly use that. A little bit of insulated copper wire. Probably our best value is the cord, really. Some insulation sleeving that I will keep, and when I fill up a little box or a jar with that, I will try and sell it through the shop because it is handy, and I keep a little bit here. That can go in our irony aluminium, but again, only a matter of cents. Our little thermal fuse will be handy for a job down the track, I'm sure. A little bit of hardware. And these little clips or terminals, you do need to check them with a magnet because on some cheap appliances they're just steel, but these ones are non-magnetic. They'll be a nickel-plated brass, and they've got a bit of wire on them. I'll throw them in with the dirty brass. So micro sense there. And we have our casing that can just go as pressing steel. So not very exciting, but Christine, say farewell to your old rice cooker.
I just used the new one.
Yeah?
Yeah.
She used the new one. Does it work?
It's beautiful.
Fantastic. Is tea ready?
It's beautiful.
Is dinner ready, I should say? Tea, dinner?
Yes.
Yes? Excellent. Fantastic. Happy customer. Although one could argue that a customer needs to actually buy stuff. Oh, I did forget to mention the aluminium bowl out of this rice cooker is a bit of value to us as well. But ultimately, the scrap value from one of these things probably would be less than $1. You know, I think probably our insulated wire and the aluminium is probably the best and certainly the quickest to get. But as you can see, there's a few other bits and pieces in there that are worth something if you're prepared to pull them apart. I broke up that large floor lamp, and even though that looks like lovely copper, it is just plated. In fact, it possibly even is some sort of copper paint. I doubt it's even very thick plating if it is plated. So that's going to the steel. But I did get the nice long cord out of it with the switch. So that will certainly represent at least $10 for me if I have to do another repair there. So that's good. A few more bits of hardware as well. A little bit of rubbish. And all right, we better go through what we can sell and what we are throwing to e-waste. And really this stuff here is mostly just going in my scrap bins, but I'm not writing down any value for that because it's so minor. With the scrap stuff sorted and the hardware put in jars and everything else put away there, we're left with only this as rubbish. That's the packing from Christine's new rice cooker, and that was the plastic base out of that floor lamp. So that's really all the rubbish we have out of this lot. We do have the box of the rice cooker, and it's not a good enough box for me to keep as far as eBay posting goes, so I'll just cut that up for the recycle bin. And this printer is all I'm taking to the e-waste crates out at the transfer station. Given that the old rice cooker was mostly steel, they can go in the scrap metal, so this will go to e-waste. And that leaves us with the stuff to test, tag, and take to the shop to sell. So if we pan down to the notepad, you'll see that what we reckon we can get for this stuff adds up to $95. Fairly cheap prices, I think, for what it is. But if that's still at those prices in 2 weeks' time, it'll be dropping by half. The only exception I might make is the slide projector, because I think 30 is a good price for that. And that does fit into my shop as far as antiques, collectibles, you know, curios, that sort of stuff. So my general appliances, office stuff, kitchen stuff, lamps, it doesn't really fit in with antiques and collectibles. That's why I don't like my e-waste stuff or my electrical stuff cluttering up the shop too much, because it changes the feel of the shop. Whereas nice old vintage things, that's fine. That can hang around for a while. And I think that may even be back to the late 60s. So I said 70s before, but might even be late 60s. So $95, possibly. We'll see how we go. The blue bottle, that was the only thing I could find in this trip to the charity shop that I could possibly flip. They just had 50 cents on it. I was really struggling to find anything this day. Usually there's plenty of things I can choose from, but I want something that I can at least triple my money on. Now, this isn't anything special. In fact, I think if you look at the base, I think it's been painted. It looks clear at the base. It's also got a bit of a chip there I didn't notice. But it's a lovely blue, and I think someone's had a candle in it because it's got a bit of a wax line and it had a blob of wax on the top. So I'm only going to put $3 on it, as you just saw from my notepad. So we'll take the 50-cent sticker off. And getting $3 for that then represents 6 timesing my money. But we're not talking big finance by any means. At least it satisfies my requirement of trying to find something that I can flip. So we'll put that in the shop and we'll circle that when it sells. So that's this week's episode. That's what value we've got. We'll look back next week and see how we've gone. Let's look at the previous weeks. Last week's episode saw us not sell anything except that wire cradle. I did get my $20 for that, and that was one that I found out by their scrap metal bins, so that was a pretty cool find, and sold it this weekend. But this stuff has another weekend in the shop to see how we go, and the set-top box and the Soundcore clock radio are on eBay. I've reported on that in my eBay series. We will be watching those auctions finish. At this stage, they don't have any bids, but we'll see how we go. Let's look at the previous week. Part 2 stuff hasn't seen a lot of action, to be honest, although we have sold both the Sunbeam toasters at $10 each, so I was pretty happy with that. So now these items have had their 2 weeks in the shop. So I'm now going to, when we open on Friday, I'm going to discount them down to $5 each. The only one I won't is this Nintendo Wii. Based on a few comments, I actually upped the price to 10, but it's still in the shop, so now it's going to become 5. The blender, that was the older Breville blender, we'll drop that to 5. If I can't get 5 for that after 2 weeks, we will scrap it because it's got a big electric motor in it. The USB fan, I went looking for it the other day. I have a feeling someone's put that in their pocket and walked out, so that would be a shame. And the Panasonic shaver is on eBay. Again, I'll report on that in my eBay series. It has no bids as yet, but I will be filming the end of that auction. And the 2 items that I'm trying to flip, we haven't sold either of those yet. I probably won't discount those though, because they're cool things. I mean, that enamel teapot's a nice old one. And like I was saying with the projector, they go fine in the shop, whereas the electrical stuff I don't want hanging around for too long. So there we go, guys, another episode of Monday Marathon e-waste processing. I'm enjoying doing these videos, and judging from the comments and the views that I'm getting online, a lot of you guys are too, which is great. So I'll certainly keep doing them. I'm having a lot of fun. It is keeping me pretty busy in the shed with all this extra stuff coming in, but I'm still managing to do the other emergency storage shed series. I haven't got onto any repair jobs though for a while. I need to do that. So yeah, thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.